Hi you guys, it's Jennifer and welcome back to my Flagstaff home. For those of you who follow my vlogs on my other channel, if you don't and you're interested, I'll link that for you in the space below. But for those of you who do follow that, you know that we are getting ready to move again. We lived in Flagstaff for 9 years, then we moved away for 2 years, then we came back to Flagstaff a year ago and moved into an apartment while we were trying to find just the right house, and so here we are a year later moving again. So I wanted to share some tips with you about moving. This video is about preparation you can do several months in advance of moving. So there's this period of time where you know you're going to move, but it's too early to start packing. I mean, maybe you can pack some stuff in your garage or your guest bedroom closet or things like that. But you don't, I would strongly discourage you from just tearing up your house and living in boxes for months, because it really does disrupt your life. And so there are things though that you can do well in advance of packing that will be things that you have to get done, and you might as well take care of some of those things earlier on. So this video is about that. What are some of those things that you can do ahead of time? And so the first part, I'm going to talk about stuff related to changing your address, and then I have some other things to share too. So, okay, let's go ahead and get going. So, okay, the good news is that with the United States Postal Service at USPS.com, you can go on as early as you know you're going to be moving, or at least when you know the address you're moving to, and you can schedule your address change. Like, I don't know how far in advance, but at least a couple months in advance. You go onto USPS.com and click the Get Started button, and then it gives you the opportunity to put in your current address, whether or not just one person is moving or the whole family, and then everybody who's got that same last name will, their mail will get forwarded. If you have people with different last names, you're going to have to list that separately. You tell the new address, and then you schedule the date that your mail begins to be forwarded. So if if it's January and you're moving in April, you can schedule it so that your forwarding begins, however far in advance you want it to start going to the new place. Here's the thing. I always schedule the forwarding to begin a couple of days before we move, because I want to make sure that it actually happened. So I don't want to pick up the mail on the last day that I'm in my house and drive away and not know if it's going to accidentally get delivered to my house after I've left. And so I usually schedule it a couple of days before we move, so that when I go to my mailbox, nothing is there for several days in a row, and I go, okay, the mail has stopped coming to this house and it's on its way to being forwarded to the other place. There is a gap. So if you're just moving to another place in the same town, or you're moving to a nearby city where you're moving in one day, you're going to find that you'll go several days without mail, because they're going to take your mail that you would be getting at your old house out of circulation, put a label on it, a forwarding address label, and then stick it back in the mail, and then it has to go and get to you now. So there is this gap, but I like to make sure that it has stopped coming to my old address. Okay, so that is the first one, and a big one. Another great thing about scheduling with USPS for your address change is that they end up sending you really good coupons for moving. And so some of them will be stores where you can get decor. I mean, Wayfair is one of them that's coming to mind. There's always one for Amazon, Bed Bath & Beyond, and not just a 20% off one item at Bed Bath & Beyond, but 20% off your entire purchase. You don't get those coupons very often. So that's one plus with scheduling through USPS for your change of address. So the other thing that you can do in advance is start to make a list of all of the mail you do receive and the change of addresses that you're going to have to do once you get closer to actually moving. So as the mail comes to you, if it's something that comes to you fairly frequently, once a month, once every quarter, or whatever, you can just start making a list of those things. So I'm going to buzz through what some of those things might be to help you get your list started. So first of all, let me start with Amazon, because I know that most of us order things from Amazon. In my case, too often. But anyway, in Amazon, you can go in and change your address on your account, but if you use Subscribe and Save, there is a different address change process. And I found out the hard way because I had something with Subscribe and Save that showed up to my old house, and packages do not get forwarded. Very important to remember. So with your regular Amazon account, you just go into your account settings and change your address, and then that's good. But for Subscribe and Save, you have to go to the part of Amazon where the Subscribe and Save is, click on one of your items that you have delivered to you on a regular basis. Just click on one item. It will bring that item up, and it will give you a list of things you want to do, like do you want to cancel delivery of this item, whatever. It gives you like 5 different options, and one of them is to change the shipping address for this item. So at that moment you're thinking, am I going to have to go through every single item that I get and Subscribe and Save and change this address? You don't have to. So anyway, you go ahead and enter in the new address, and then when you click to confirm that address, it will bring up a thing that says, do you want to change the shipping address just for this item or for all of your Subscribe and Save items? So of course you click that, and then boom, you're done. So, okay, so let me list some of the other things. If you have any subscription boxes that come once a month or once every 3 months, you'll want to change those. All of the credit cards you have, you want to change your address on. So you're going to want to make sure that you change not only your shipping address, but your billing address on some of those things. Let's see, your banks, you're going to need to do that. And of course, order checks if you use checks at all. Anything related to taxes or receiving your W-2s, any online ordering that you do. So for example, Kohl's.com, Michael's, I order from Grove Collaborative, Ulta. And just to let you know, mail will be forwarded by the U.S. Postal Service for a year, but magazines will only be forwarded for 3 months. So magazines are another thing that you need to go ahead and change the address on. Health insurance, life insurance, dental insurance, any of those, if you get prescriptions that come in the mail, our mail order service requires that, well, I can put in a change of shipping address, but if I want to change my primary address on the account, I actually have to make a phone call to take care of that. Any loans that you have, whether it's a car loan or anything like that, you'll want to change. Investment, now your investments, if you have a 401k or 403b, anything like that, what I have found is that they somehow get record of the fact that you've moved. I think they get notified by the Postal Service, and usually I'll end up seeing that the address has been changed without me having to make arrangements. But I do have one company that we invest with, and it required me to make a phone call to them to change the address. Any, like your old workplace is important to change your address with, and your new workplace, getting a new job with this move, when you applied, you used your old mailing address, and so you're going to want to change that with them. And then also your old company that you're leaving, you want to give them your updated address in case there's like one final check or something that they're going to be sending you. And then another thing that's very important to change, and it's super easy to forget about doing, is any microchips that you have in your pets. You don't have to know the exact company or website that you used for signing up for registering your microchip, because usually when you get a microchip put in your say your dog, then they will give you a pamphlet where you go register using the microchip number, and then you put your name and address, the contact information, all of that. If you don't remember what that was, you don't have to go back to the same thing, because if you register the microchip once, then it will come up on numerous sites for lost animals that deal with microchips. So Smart Tag is one of them. Another one that we use is called Found Animals. And then you can put whether you've found an animal or you're wanting to register your animal in there. So you just want to make sure you do that. If you do not have the microchip number, so you get your dog or cat microchipped and they give you a paper that has the number of the microchip. If you have misplaced that, you need to make sure you go to your current vet before you move to either have them look up the information for you if they're the ones who chipped your animal, or to have them scan your animal to give you the chip number. Okay, another thing you can do in advance is research and schedule your movers. Don't wait till the last minute to schedule your movers. So they book up, and depending on the time of year you move, it may be a super busy time, and so you really want to make sure you do that ahead of time and look into the movers and whether they will make cross-country trips depending on where you are moving. Find out their rate, find out if they're going to move you to a different town, find out what that transit rate is that they add on. Sometimes, like when we just moved an hour away from Flagstaff, they charged us a certain amount of money for gas, but they didn't add on time for the guys who were moving us because it wasn't a very long train, it wasn't a very long travel time. So anyway, there you go. Another thing is that you'll need to do is your utilities. So you're going to need to schedule shutoff for your current utilities, and you can schedule the turn on for the utilities at your new place. So you're going to look at electricity. If your home has gas heat or gas water heating, you're going to look into that company. The city usually will have the city will usually be in charge of your water and trash pickup. But the last town we lived in, trash pickup was a separate company. You had to contact somebody else to arrange for your trash pickup. It wasn't done through the city. And so you need to look into that and just make a list to find out who those companies are. And because a lot of those companies allow you to schedule in advance, you can go ahead and take care of those shut off and turn on dates. The other thing you can do is start collecting boxes for your move. If this is going to be a big move for you, you'll probably need to go and purchase some boxes, but you can start collecting things. If you get some nice, good, sturdy boxes, like from, if you have any of those food delivery services like HelloFresh, any of those are really nice, sturdy boxes. Amazon will sometimes send you sturdy boxes, and sometimes they're not so sturdy. Sometimes you may need to reinforce them a little bit more with tape, but you can start saving some of those. Even save some smaller boxes, because you can pack boxes inside of boxes. Let me give you an example. If you're packing up your bathroom stuff and you have little items like deodorant and makeup or whatever, you can pack some of those things in smaller boxes and then put them in your bigger box where you are keeping your towels and other stuff that go in the bathroom. So start collecting those. And then also you're going to need to start looking into where you're going to get the boxes you're going to use for your move. And you do want to get some decent sturdy boxes, not some flimsy things that are going to just explode as soon as the movers start setting stuff on top of them. U-Haul is a great place to get boxes, but boxes are expensive. So you might first want to check on Facebook Marketplace, because I've seen on there where people are giving away, in many cases just giving away their boxes for free. And then you can also look on Craigslist in the moving section and see if people are giving away boxes or selling them for cheap, because you can spend $1 or more per box, and that adds up very fast when you're moving a family. And the other thing is, it's good to recycle boxes. It just kills me at this apartment complex where we've been living. It just kills me to see, every week somebody's moving into the apartment, and then out by the recycle trash, there's just, 30 boxes, 50 boxes that they're just throwing away. And I just thought, oh my gosh, if we could just work out a system around here where the people who are moving out can get the boxes of somebody who just moved in, we could do a good job with recycling. And so look into getting some mildly used boxes before you go out and purchase some other ones. Okay, you can schedule carpet cleaning, window cleaning, anything like that that you might need to do before you list your house. If you're going to be listing your house, you might also want to have pest control just in case, somebody might be really turned off if they happen to see a spider in your house or something like that. So you want to set up those things to do in advance of listing your house on the market. If you are in a situation like we are with moving out of an apartment, we're being required to have our carpets cleaned and to have the apartment cleaned. We can do it ourselves, or they say they want it professionally cleaned, but I think you can probably handle it by yourself as long as you do a thorough job. If you're planning to get rid of furniture, then obviously a garage sale is not a bad way of getting rid of some of your furniture, but you can also list your things on Facebook Marketplace, and that's a really good one because you can list locally, so only people who live in your area will be searching for stuff that you have. And Craigslist, I'm not saying you shouldn't use Craigslist to sell your stuff, but beware of scammers. And let me tell you a classic scam. We had people try to pull this off on us, and I finally looked up what was happening, what they were doing, and found out that this is a common scam on Craigslist. We were listing a washer dryer for sale, and what happened is we listed it, posted it on Craigslist, and within 1 hour, boom, 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 we got 3 text messages saying, will you accept, is this item still for sale, and will you accept a cashier's check? And I'm thinking, well, of course I'll accept a cashier's check. I mean, cashier's checks are safe ways to have money transactions, right? And so I was like, okay. Well, then the next person contacted me, will you accept a cashier's check? The next person, and then they also got kind of bossy about it and said, please, I'm going to buy this from you. Please take it off Craigslist because I'm going to get it from you. So I thought, well, all right. So at first I hadn't caught on yet to this, and I had 3 people who were kind of saying the same thing, which was making me suspicious. And then this one person said, so they said, I'm going to send you a cashier's check, and I'm out of town, so I can't give it to you in person, and I can't pick the washer dryer up myself because I'm out of town. So I'm going to send you a cashier's check for the amount of the washer dryer plus more than that. I think he was going to send an additional $500 or something like that. And he said, what I want you to do is cash the cashier's check, take the amount that you get for the washer dryer, and when my mover comes to pick up the washer and dryer, give them the additional money, the $500 and the washer dryer. Do you get what's happening here? Well, when I looked up the scam, what happens is they send a fake cashier's check. They make it look really real, and you go ahead and you deposit it into your bank, and then the next day, so it's before the check is actually cleared, their mover person comes, you give them your washer and dryer and $500, and then your bank contacts you and tells you that the check is fraudulent, and you've just given this person the thing you were selling plus some of your own money. Yeah. So I just finally, when I read that, I was like, this is exactly what's happening. And so I just told them, no scammers, get out of here. Don't contact me again. They'll fight with you. They'll fight with you too. Like, I'm an upstanding person, and and I'm like, too bad. If you want it so badly, then get yourself back here and you can, pick it up yourself and give me cash. So in the future, what I decided to do after that is anytime I list anything on Craigslist, I always say no scammers and no third-party transactions. So be sure to do that. But all that to say, Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist are places where you can get rid of some furniture if you decide you don't want to move that. The other thing is, if you get a physical newspaper, you want to cancel that or schedule a date when that's going to be canceled. I usually like to have it canceled a few days before my move so I can actually confirm that it has stopped being delivered, because sometimes you know, their wires get crossed and it continues to be delivered to your house. And then the other thing is if you are making, and you can set up your newspaper delivery in your new town if that's what you want. And finally, if you are making a cross-country trip, consider getting your car maintenance. So if you're not moving for 3 months, go ahead and get your car maintenance. Have somebody give it a good once over and check everything and make sure that everything is in working condition. And you know, and then as you get closer to your trip, get your oil changed and all that. But take the time that you have before life starts getting really crazy, when the real moving starts, and get some of those things taken care of. Another thing for as far as listing your house for sale, one thing that really spruces up a house when you are listing it is just to take the time to paint your baseboards. Baseboards get dingy, they get stuff knocked into them, you move furniture, something gets, you know, it gets a scuff on it. Yes, they get dust on them, and even when you dust them and scrub them, well, there is one way to scrub them that is very effective, and that is you can get that product scrubbing bubbles that foams, and you go around and you spray the top lip of your baseboards and let it sit for a few minutes and take a sponge and it cleans it right off. So if your baseboards are just dirty and they're not scuffed up, then do that. But otherwise, just paint them. I know it's kind of a pain in the butt to do, but when you do that, when you paint your baseboards, it makes your house look like it is so lightly lived in, and it just changes everything. So consider doing that. And then finally, you're going to want to buy packing tape and packing paper, any of those kinds of supplies that you're going to need for when you actually do get started. But like I said, check Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist before you go out and buy some of that stuff, because a lot of people buy more stuff than they need, and then they get moved and they have stuff they're trying to get rid of, and they're selling their moving supplies for very cheap, and in many cases they're giving things away. So you might want to check that stuff out too. So there you go. If you're getting ready to move, hopefully this will give you some stuff to kind of get started prepping for, even before it's time to actually start packing your boxes. And I hope this was helpful to you. I'm going to have a couple of more videos with moving tips. So if you're not a subscriber to my Flagstaff home, hit that button and YouTube will let you know when I upload new videos, which is pretty often. And I do other videos about gardening, cooking, crafting, stuff like that. So I hope you'll follow along on my Flagstaff home, and we'll see you again. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye.